Alright, to begin the Pecha Kucha of Titan's Venus of Urbino, I'm going to give a little background info on the painting. It was completed in 1538 and it was a gift from the Duke of Della Rovere to his young wife Julia Verano. It also represents the allegory of marriage and was used as a teaching model to his young wife, and some scholars state that it appears in other artists' pieces as well. The first symbolism I'm going to talk about is the eroticism that appears from the lady herself. And it was painted to remind the woman of her martial obligations to her husband, and in the light and warm color of her body is in contrast to the dark background, bringing out her eroticism. The sleeping dog on the sheets represents marital fidelity, and the name Venus in the title itself hints that the painting has some presence of the goddess of love, whereas the servants in searching for the lady's clothing hints that she could simply just be a mortal waiting to be clothed. The painting is split in half vertically by the dark curtain behind Venus, where her hand is. This is used to draw attention to the woman's hand over her loins, thus adding to the sensuality of the painting and bringing more attention to Venus's body. By looking at the facial features of Venus, we see there is a seducing yet lustrous gaze coming from her eyes. It is not staring off into the distance, but yet is looking at the viewer's eyes directly. She seems to be at total ease for her situation, which is being naked, and the viewer is supposed to feel uncomfortable from the gaze. The shape of Venus's body is a form of symbolism itself. The long, curved form of her side that is touching the bed and going along the painting is used to draw the viewer's eyes down to the different aspects of the painting to where the dog and the servants are by her feet. As we see on the right picture, she holds a bunch of roses in her hand, and on the window's ledge on the left picture, in the background, there's a myrtle tree and there is a plant in a vase. These floral symbols are associated with the goddess Venus, and they define the special kind of love she represents, a fruitful, passionate love rather than just a sated lust of the body. The structures around the painting imply that the scene takes place indoors in a domestic building, such as the columns, the hallway, and the private chambers. The area that Venus is in is called the private chambers and alludes to the meaning that the painting is meant only for your eyes and is a private gift from the Duke. The actual oil paint itself can be symbolic with the painting because Titan used many thin layers of oil paint to give off the translucent, soft, glowing skin, and that alludes to her having some type of goddess-like ability or presence. The white bed linen where her feet are portrayed and where her head and arms rest are symbolic with the purity, and it could be that the start of something new in her life is happening, hence the fact that she is a newly wedded wife to the Duke of Della Rovere. The faded roses in her hand represent love, but one of the flowers has fallen onto the crimson bed painted with black flowers. The flower falling from the bouquet can symbolize love, which has been physically interrupted by the death of one of the lovers, hence the black roses on the crimson bed. In the center of the picture, we can see on her finger of her left hand, and it's touching her loins, is a black widow's ring. This signifies death and leads us to believe she is still in mourning of her past lover. It is also placed right where the division of the painting occurs to lead the viewer's eyes onto the rest of the painting. The green drapes behind Venus symbolize hope, and then also the roundness of her belly could signify the early stages of pregnancy. Thus, the green drapes are there to have hope for a healthy baby that will strengthen the love for the Duke, as well as a continuation for her love for him. The black vase with the green plant is showing both parts of the sky beside it to the left and to the right, and it's as if to confirm that the deceased person has went away toward the sun lighting up in the sky in the background in hope of entering a new life. There's a definite similarity in the paintings between Titan's Venus and then his former master Georgian's Venus. The one on the left is called Sleeping Venus, and the one on the right is Venus of Urbina. And the death allusions in Titans could be referring back to his death of his former master. The large column, partly blocking the tree in the back, carries the meaning of virtue and strength. But at the same time, it could be an allusion to the Italian house of Colonna, and in Italian, Colonna means column, and that column is featured on the family crest as well as in numerous emblems carried by their members. The tree that is partially being covered in the painting, not the one that's in the base, is also a form of symbolism. The myrtle tree symbolizes undying love, commitment, and it's also, in some cultures, it is a Hebrew emblem of marriage. Titan's Venus is in complete contrast to Venus of Georgian, his former master. Titan's Venus is more mortal-like and seductive, and it's as if it can be attained, while Georgian's Venus has her eyes closed as if no man can have her, and she has no jewelry, signifying that she is above that like a god. The maids and servants in the back portray social classes and race. The black servant is lower than the maid, the one that is digging through the chest, showing that the actual maid herself carrying the dress is higher than the slave, and then Venus, laying on the bed, is higher than both of them. And this dignifies the social classes during the time period. From the numerous symbolic elements within the painting, you can tell there is certainly more than meets the eye. We can see there were deep emotions put into the painting by Titans himself in referring back to his former master, and an incredible amount of time and detail were placed into it as well to give off the perfect meaning.